What is the scariest thing seen in the ocean that has a photographic proof? Bobbit worms. They look like something out of a hell dimension. They range from 4 inches to 10 feet long, and their jaws are so powerful that they can snap a fish in half. And what's worse about them compared to a lot of the answers in this thread is that you can end up with a bobbit worm in your at-home saltwater aquarium by accident. They like to live in holes of large rocks, which are also popular among aquarium enthusiasts to use as decor or hide inside the substrate at the bottom of an aquarium. As they are ambush predators who are mostly active at night, you probably won't figure out that there's one inside your aquarium until you notice fish have started to go missing. These worms are almost impossible to get rid of out of your large aquarium rocks, as they can cling so tightly to the hole they're in that you can't pull them out. They're also really good at hiding in small spaces. If you tear the worm apart trying to get it out, which is pretty easy to do, the leftover part inside the rock hole can regenerate into a new bobbit worm. As to why an aquarist doesn't just boil the rock or bake the rock before putting it in their tank to prevent bobbit worms, the rocks the worms hitch in on are called live rocks. These rocks are from the ocean floor and contain microorganisms, bacteria, algae, coral, and invertebrates that help make the tank water healthy and stable. So, anything that would end the worm beforehand would also end all the beneficial organisms on the rock, thus defeating the purpose of buying an expensive live rock. By the time they figured out a bobbit worm got into their tank, it might have been weeks or months since the rock got put in, as bobbit worms hide during the day and hunt at night. At that point, the worm could be anywhere in the tank. Caves and icebergs that constantly change while you are inside them. There is an article linked to this comment with Jill Haynerth describing an iceberg dive that she led, and I will summarize. Imagine going down into the iceberg 3 times even though it tried to take you out each time. The first time you could not find the exit because the iceberg melts and moves around, then you go back a second time and the current becomes strong and pushes you around. The third time you come back with higher powered cameras and a third diver and had to climb up the ice to get out. And they were planning a 4th dive when the iceberg self-destructed. Talk of having multiple lucks. Those people must love their work because that was insane. This elbow squid has given me nightmares for a decade. What kind of creature evolves into a long boy like that in pitch darkness? Imagine all the things it accidentally touches. This squid can be over 6 meters long, and scientists believe that since their arms and tentacles have suckers on them, they likely use them to trap prey that bump into them. It's hard to pick scariest, but sperm whales are my vote for a top-tier scary ocean creature. Humans have nothing to fear. Sperm whales have never been known to eat us, but that's because they choose not to. Sperm whales are loud enough that they can probably end a person with their clicks alone. They are huge, powerful predators. They have 8-inch teeth that are 2 pounds each, and they can end other animals with single hits from their tails. I don't know if this makes them scarier, but they can survive 10,000 feet below the surface for up to 60 minutes. The pressure there is over 300x that at the surface, and that's close to the depth where the Titan submersible is believed to have imploded earlier this year. The tongue-eating louse. A parasite that eats the tongues of fish and then just hangs out in their mouths. They don't actually eat tongues, they latch onto them and drain the blood from the tongue and it withers away. Which is not a less horrifying prospect, to be honest. So, since the fish does not have their tongue, they pretty much are not getting enough nutrients and ends up weak or passing away, and the parasite moves along like a hobo dusty. In a related topic, there is a beetle larva that eats frogs. It looks attractive to the frog and the frog tries to eat it, and if the larva catches the frog's tongue, it eats the frog alive from its tongue down, or if the frog swallows, it crawls out the frog's mouth, attaches itself to the frog, and eats it. So, a win-win for the larva. Blue-ringed octopus venom, commonly found in Australia, have one of the most potent venoms on Earth, and there is no antidote. They paralyze their prey with the toxins in their saliva and then eat it. They are dangerous to humans when provoked. Despite being small, they carry enough venom to unalive 26 adult humans within a minute. Have your affairs in order, guys, and obviously don't touch them because they look cute. Videos and pictures of people handling blue-ringed octopi in their bare hands. One bite is potent enough to end 28 people. Absolutely chills me that someone is playing with something so deadly. Early in my saltwater aquarium days, early 1980s, I bought a blue ring octopus from a local aquarium shop, U.S. Midwest, thousands of miles from any ocean. They're pretty hard to keep and it started to weaken. I remember putting my hand in the tank and coaxing it to eat. Found out decades later they are freaking poisonous as hell. No one would have had a clue what croaked me. Lovely little critters though. For me personally, any anglerfish. Fun fact about the anglerfish is that their jaws and stomach can become bigger to accommodate more food. This is a good way for them to store food when they have more than they need since their environment has limited amount of food. Vampire squid should be noted, these guys aren't predators or dangerous at all. They just operate in an environment they are perfectly suited for, sucking up ocean snow, totally unchallenged by any need to adapt. That they haven't changed much in 300 million years is somehow unsettling. Vampire squids are harmless. Despite their name, they eat detritus floating around in the water, known as marine snow. The red coloring is for camouflage. Red light doesn't travel far in water, so most animals can't see red. Goblin shark thing looks scary as hell and its jaw jumps out and attacks. Surprisingly, a lot of fish eat like that. An extending jaw is very common. I'd shit myself if I happened upon a spider crab. The spider crab lives in Japan's waters, and they have the largest legs known of any creature with an exoskeleton. Their legs continue to grow even after they have passed adulthood and can span 12 feet. A coconut crab washed up on the beach in front of our house when I was a little kid. We don't otherwise have them in Hawaii. They came out of the ocean and scuttled up a tree. Absolute nightmare fuel. Even worse, knowing it must have been a baby. Plus they're omnivores and have been known to eat birds and other small wildlife. Humboldt squid. I frequently go fishing with local captains in the Sea of Cortez, a bit north of Cabo San Lucas. When the Humboldt squid are migrating through, we start the day by going to catch one or two for bait. As far as sport fishing goes, a 50 pounds Dorado is easier to pull in than a 200 pounds marlin. A 200 pounds marlin is easier to pull in than a 50 pounds tuna. And a 50 pounds tuna is easier to pull in than a 20 pounds Humboldt squid. People say a tuna's whole body is muscle and they swim straight down, but that's a bit of an exaggeration. With Humboldts, it's actually true. Wicked strong little beasts. This video of a frilled shark creeps me out. It inspired the second form of Shin Godzilla, which is also pretty unsettling. They are very serpent-like. Leopard seals. It's something about their eyes. They're large, fast, basically silent predators outmatched in their environment only by the orca. Their jaws open to almost 180 degrees, and they have a bite force comparable to a bull shark. The sound they make fills me with a very primal fear. And in the right lighting their eyes are terrifying. I think it's a wolf in sheep's clothing thing, but instead of a wolf it's a flipping prehistoric water monster. I have learned more horrible facts about the leopard seal, a creature I now worship out of fear there may be one under my bed. These snake-headed murder puppies are, on average, 10-foot-long 600-pound prehistoric killing machines that see any warm-blooded animal smaller than them as prey. Females have been measured to top 11.5 feet long and weighed at over 1,100 pounds of pure, flesh-ripping terror. The corners of their extremely long mouths are permanently curved upward and sometimes they smile. Shocking no one, this is usually a sign of aggression. Nothing can erase from my mind the image of these terrible fuzzy Jeff the Killer beasts smiling. Their heads average 14.5 inches long, awful, with jaws that can open to 160 degrees, significantly larger than any one human limb or head. I hate this. Their lower jaw is massive, even for a predator. Leopard seal skulls and bear skulls are too similar for my liking. Seal eyes have spherical lenses, what the F, giving them a field of vision of about 280 degrees. With both eyes, they can see basically clearly 360 degrees. Humans have about 130 degrees of visual field and maybe 180 total degrees of vision. If you can see a leopard seal, it has already seen you. You can't sneak up on these, need I remind you, virtually silent when hunting murder monsters. They're skilled at adapting to many climates and food sources, so much so that in a world where polar bears and orcas are struggling, leopard seals are considered of least concern on the endangered species scale. The way they eat penguins is to essentially catch them and throw them into the air until the penguin is fully degloved. They throw penguins out of their skin. They also have highly developed craniofacial musculature, allowing them tongue dexterity and a powerful bite force. They sometimes hunt by just sucking prey into their mouths underwater. Nothing scarier than the Stygiomedusa gigantea, a massive deep-sea jellyfish. Grows up to 10 goddamn meters in length. Looks like a Dementor from Harry Potter. Imagine that's what you see looming in front you 6,000 meters below the ocean. To me, it's the lack of emotion in connection to their appearance that makes them terrifying. To someone with the right amount of ignorance, they look like blown-up bacteria that exist to engulf whatever comes their way and are keen to leave stinging souvenirs to those who escape. The lamprey is downright creepy AF. Here's a fun fact. King Henry I of England ate so many lampreys, against his physician's advice, and it caused him to fall ill, and this resulted in his demise. There was a dude in ancient times called Vedius Pollio that kept a bunch of lampreys, and he would starve them, and any of his slaves that displeased him he would throw into the pond, and the lampreys would feast on them. Mantis shrimp. We're so freaking lucky these things don't get very big. This thing attacks so fast that it can literally take bone out of you. A small baby one can attack so fast and powerfully that you wouldn't feel the pain till you noticed a large piece of skin and tissue missing out of your skin. Their claws move at 50 miles per hour, and you're like, I've taken baseballs like that, but then you realize that it's moving 10 kx greater than gravity, and you realize that it just hit you twice before you blinked. And then 2 more times after you've screamed from the first hit. The average human bone can withstand the force equivalent to 5 pickup trucks, which equates to about 30,000 pounds or 133,000 newtons approximately. The club of a mantis shrimp can deal 1,500 newtons, but it's accelerating at 10,000 times greater than gravity. Thus, the speed compensates and the hand will not stand a chance. Repeated blows are common for this attack. There are stories of people putting these in aquariums in the zoo, and before long the mantis shrimp can punch clean through the glass of the reinforced walls. Basically, it's a 330-pound razor coming at you at 50 miles per hour and if underwater 10 kx greater than gravity. Fun fact, they have 12 channels of color with 16 color receptors. Humans have 3 and we see red, green, and blue. With those 3 we see thousands of colors. Mantis shrimps can see tens of thousands of colors. Colors we literally can't even comprehend that just exist in our world. One of the worst ones for me are the Greenland sharks with parasites in their eyes. The photos give me panic attacks. Blind, 400 years old, antifreeze blood, 24 feet long, feeds by biting its prey and spinning in a circle. Just like my mother-in-law. Great white sharks. Let's not overthink this. Oceanic whitetips are considered more dangerous, they just don't go close to shore often. But if your ship goes down in the ocean, they might be the last thing you see. Not the biggest or maybe scariest, but I'd argue the cookie-cutter shark is the most ghoulish and depraved, using razor-sharp circular teeth to bore a gaping hole in its victim. Like something from a Saw movie. So, we have this shark that basically cuts perfectly circular holes in its victims. What name should we give it to warn people about how it attacks? Fun fact, marks made by a cookie-cutter shark has been found on submarines and undersea cables. I was snorkeling in the rocky shallows off the Wailea coast of Maui, Hawaii in 1990 when I came face to face with a moray eel with a big sharp, toothy grin. I got out his way fast. Great white shark breaching a human. This great white was off the coast of San Diego, California, and in open ocean. Shark Week episode where they were testing to see if open ocean great whites are more aggressive. The guy literally had lost form of speech and had PTSD from the great white breaching him. I have replayed this countless times and it still gives me chills. This has always fascinated and freaked me out. The barreleye fish, They are also called the spookfish. Their head is in a large transparent soft tissue with their eyes looking upwards to detect prey, although they can also look forward. The shape of their head protects them from the sting of sea creatures like the jellyfish which they tend to steal food from, and they are also toothless, so maybe that's why they steal. In my opinion, their head looks cool. The garbage. Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's a huge floating garbage of plastic and trash that comes from lots of regions like Asia, North and South America, and it is 3 times the size of Paris. Most of this trash is as a result of fishing activities at the sea, and here I was thinking it was from all you guys drinking bottled water. There have multiple cleanup attempts, but the fact that the garbage grows 10 times each decade, who knows when the entire thing can be cleaned up, likely not in our generation. This garbage is affecting the fishes as they sometimes think the plastic is food and eat it, leading to their demise. The bombs covered partially with cement on the ocean floor off Molokini. Bombs dropped during World War II. It is where all the boats take tourists to go snorkeling near Maui. Look straight down and see everyone is swimming directly over the bombs. The tour guide said they didn't go off, but cement was put in them to make sure they don't go off at all. Right. There is an island behind that no one can go on as it is still covered in bombs and landmines. Had to scroll back up to the post from the depths to make sure some part of it didn't exclude them based on semantics, but some people said shipwrecks, so siphonophores. Not individual organisms, but colonies. By their design, no two will look exactly alike, and some are quite gorgeous. Siphonophores are individual organisms that come together to be able to function and carry out activities such as eat, digest, float, defense, and reproduce. They vary in size and eat things like jellyfish and crayfish. When they encounter potential prey, they shoot a toxin that paralyzes it and lunch is ready. Their sting can be very painful to humans. Also, because they are transparent, swimmers and divers may not notice them. Whirlpool large enough to take down a boat. I grew up off the west coast of Canada, and there is a particular section between an island and the mainland that if the tides surge just a specific way, it creates a monstrous whirlpool. We were on a ship headed up the coast, the tides were doing weird things, and our boat almost got sucked in. Scariest thing my dad has ever had to navigate. Interesting fact, a large disaster that occurred as a result of a whirlpool was in the 14th century when a ruler decided to test out his theory that it was possible to reach the ends of the ocean. So, he stocked 200 boats full of men, gold, and food to last them several years with the instruction that they do not come back until they reach the ends of the ocean or they run out of food. They were gone for a while, and finally one day one boat returned, and when asked, the captain stated that there was a whirlpool like a river flowing violently, and he was the last one, so all the boats ahead of him went down the whirlpool and never came out. Seeing what was happening, he turned backward to escape the current. Pretty much this people met their end trying to feed this ruler's curiosity. We've come to the end. Which sea creature or thing scared you? For me is the blue-ringed octopus. There is no antidote for their venom, so someone has to breathe for you and do chest compression until paramedics arrive. So, it's safe to say do not pick them up. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Please like, share, subscribe for more. Bye.